Okay, so today we are going to perform the experiment about the shear center of the channel section beam. So this is the apparatus or the setup. This is our channel section beam. So the first step is we need to measure the length of the beam. So first step is to measure the length of the beam. So we will measure the length of the beam. So the length of the beam is 990 millimeters. So length of the beam is 990 millimeters. Next step is, as you can see, the load is from this point, center of this point. So we need to measure the thickness of this rectangular plate. The thickness of this rectangular plate is 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters. So now our effective length is 990 plus 3 millimeters, that is 993 millimeters. Fine. So next step after the determination of the length of the beam, the next step is the measurement of the flange width, thickness, depth of the web. So these things we are going to measure now. So first we are going to measure the width of the flange. So width of the flange is
20.
So width of the flange is 26.4 millimeters. So width of the flange is 26.4 millimeters. Next, we need to measure the total depth. Afterwards, we will subtract the thickness of the flange from it. So the depth of the web is exactly 52 millimeters.
Yes, sir.
52 millimeters. Fine. So next thing is we need to calculate the thickness. So thickness of the flange is 5.7. So thickness of the flange is 5.7. So now we have the dimensions of our channel section. We have measured the width of the flange. We have measured the depth of the web. We have measured the thickness of the flange. And we have also measured the total length of the beam, or you can say the effective length of the beam, which is 993 millimeters. Now, in this experiment, there will be 5 settings. 5 settings. So, 5 settings. So, 5 settings. So, this white line is basically passing through the center of the web of the channel section. So, this is passing through the center of the web of the channel section, this one. So this is given. So now we can see there are 5 possible settings. So the one which is passing through the center of the web of the channel section, that has eccentricity designated as 0 millimeter. This way, this is -5, this is -10. So we are measuring our reference is this white line. Fine. Then we have the 4th setting that has eccentricity 5 millimeter, and then the 5th setting in which the eccentricity is 10 millimeter. Now corresponding to each setting, eccentricity 0, eccentricity -5, eccentricity -10, eccentricity 5 millimeter, eccentricity 10 millimeter. We will put the loads in an increment of 20 Newton, and corresponding to 20 Newton we will measure the deflection gauge readings. So these two deflection gauges, which are vertical deflection gauge. One more thing, for the calculation, for the theoretical calculation of the shear center, we also need the distance. We also need the horizontal distance between the two dial gauges. So horizontal distance, so this distance between two dial gauges we are going to measure. So the distance, inner distance is 138 millimeter, but we need the distance from the center to center, this distance, center to center distance. So what we will do in this 138 millimeter, which is the inner distance, we are going to add this dia of the deflection gauge. So dia is 4.8. So now total is horizontal distance is 138 plus 4.8. So this total distance will become 142.8 millimeter. So now we have all the required dimensions. We have the total length of the beam, we have the width of the flange, we have the thickness of the flange, we also have the depth of the web. Moreover, we also have now this horizontal distance, which is 142.5, which is required for the theoretical calculation of the shear center. So now we have all the required dimensions. So now we will set our instrument for the first setup. So eccentricity is 0, that one we have already set. And corresponding to eccentricity 0, first setting, the load is 0. Load is 0. So corresponding to this 0 load, this one will be our deflection dial gauge reading 1. This one will be dial gauge reading 2. So corresponding to 0 load, we have deflection gauge reading as 897. So first dial gauge reading is 897, and the second one is 601. So corresponding to 0 Newton, we have two dial gauge readings. Dial gauge reading 1 is 897 and second is 601. Please put 20 Newton. So corresponding to 20 Newton, we have now dial gauge reading S. This is now 900. In fact, it should be 885. So deflection dial gauge reading for first is 885. For the second one, we have the dial gauge reading. This is now 601. So deflection dial gauge reading 2 is 601. Now please put the second. Now corresponding to this, we have now deflection gauge reading 878. So corresponding to this, we have 878, and this one is this one is 590. 590. So now we will add 20 newtons more. So corresponding to 60 newtons now. So corresponding to 60 newtons, we have deflection gauge reading as 876. 876, yes, it's 876. Corresponding to this second dial gauge reading, it is 588. So now we will do the unloading. So please remove, yes, 20 newtons. So now we have 40 newtons. So corresponding to 40 newtons, we have a reading here 888. So corresponding to 40, we are getting 888. And 40 for this is corresponding to 40 newton is giving a reading of 590. Okay, now 20 newtons. So now corresponding to 20 newtons, we have a reading of 895. 895, and vertical we are having the same. It is actually the same which we got earlier, which was 601. So corresponding to 0. So corresponding to 0, we have now. So corresponding to 0, we are having 898 for deflection dial gauge reading 1, and for the second you can see it is 601. Fine. So now we will have the second setting, that is eccentricity is equal to minus 5 millimeter. Yes, minus 5 millimeter, please.